Peace, family. We are live before the 13th hour. I hope you are ready. We will start. I know I'm running late, but I am here. My divine sea stars and sun stars and my animal family and my insect family and my divine aquatic family. Here we go. We call upon our divine elemental ancestors of fire, earth, air, water, divine mother of light, divine father of time, cloak and shield us and our animal, aquatic, insect, and plant families in the shadows of smoke, that we may pass safely amongst all friend and foe. It was, it is, it shall be. We call upon our divine elemental ancestors of fire, earth, air, water, divine mother of light, divine father of time, cloak and shield us and our animal, aquatic, insect, and plant families in the shadows of smoke, that we may pass safely amongst all friend and foe. It was, it is, it shall be. We call upon our divine elemental ancestors of fire, earth, air, water, divine mother of light, divine father of time, cloak and shield us and our animal, aquatic, insect, and plant families in the shadows of smoke, that we may pass safely amongst all friend and foe. It was, it is, it shall be. Peace, family. I made it, I know. I'm going live. I haven't done live. As you can see, I was actually out sunbathing. So I'm nice and glistened. I have my divine colors on. I wore my white scarf, but my scarf is not working out so well. Peace, Fatulus Maximus. Peace, Dark Mother. Peace, Carlos. Everybody's here. I know my hair is stuck in this scarf, and I had to do it. I couldn't go live on my iPad or my, my whatchamacallit, my laptop. So I had to go live on here. Peace, Texas. Texas is in the house. Hello, everyone. Yes, I was out in the sun gazing, getting my information. Peace, Sasha. Peace, Nick. Oh, everyone's here. I hope you are celebrating the reactivating of our shield. We have included our animal families, our insect family, our aquatic family. I'm excited. And as you know, I always like to do, look at all this beautiful family. Look at you, everyone. New York representing in the house. We got Texas in the house. We have New Orleans in the house. We have Australia representing in the house. We have California representing in the house. We got a small town in Georgia representing in the house. Cali again representing in the house. Peace, Carolinas. Virginia representing in the house. You know I gotta give shout outs. Naples, Florida representing in the house. What up, Jose? Dominguez. My homeboy from Mount Vernon's in the house. Detroit is in the house. Connecticut's in the house. Tampa's in the house. I love this. Look at this. Our family represents. This is the divine representation. Alabama's in the house. Washington State representing. India, peace from India is in the house. Montana, Newark's in the house. Missouri's in the house. Look at this beautiful family. DC's in the house. Fort Lauderdale, St. Lucia, Philly. Baton Rouge is in the house. Atlanta. Georgia again is in the house. Look at this. Orlando, Florida's in the house. Michigan's in the house. Tennessee, Maryland, Atlanta, Georgia again. Miami, PA. Look at this beautiful family. Kansas City's in the house representing. And you know how Florboon always has to do. You know, we did our reactivation of our shield, but you know, Pittsburgh is in the house, Jersey's in the house. I always have to bring in, you know, some musical components. Big up to Detroit. I'm loving the white and the purple, rocking the divine colors. Yes, I'm all glistening because I was out in the sun. So no, I wasn't doing anything debaucherous like some of you think I do. But I was getting ready and preparing for this wonderful reactivation of a shield. I make sure that Sweden's in the house. I make sure that I come to you prepared. And sometimes I'm running late too. It's a combination platter. But you know, the solar eclipse, the solar eclipse is coming in. I spoke yesterday to our family on FB. We can kind of get onto that. Austin's in the house. Buffalo, New York is represented in the house. Look at this beautiful family. You are the divine representation on this planet. You are stewards of Mother Tiamat, Mother Gaia, Mother Araya, Mother Earth. And as such, it is your right to reclaim your sovereignty as, Atlanta's in the house, to regain your sovereignty as a divine feminine sun star and sea stars and start to begin to redefine your purpose here on Mother Earth. We are coexisting on an already vibrating planet that has life, that is sentient. And to believe anything different would be absurd. You know, blessings, blessings. Oh, remember, I don't say blessings anymore. He always caught me. See how it's a mantra? Blessings is 13 less. So I will say infinite, infinite, infinite love, infinite bliss, infinite love. Thank you, Jedal. So you know I gotta get some music in the house. I can't start and kick off our show. You know, normally we do this on Blog Talk and our live FB, but now we're live on YouTube. I found a way to get live on YouTube again. You know I'm not a techie, so it takes me a little bit longer to do this. So let me see if I can get, oh wow. Of course, hold on, let me just get acclimated. You had a lot of deja vu, Maximus? Interesting. Something's changed. Somebody changed it. And then I saw my Maylab, one of the Maylab, you know, right before I came here, I saw one of these Maylab people trying to come and interfere with our day, but I did not let them. They were disallowed to, you know, intercede in our reactivation of our shield. This time I made preparation, not like last time. Can't stop, won't stop. Don't play with me, because I'm rocking with the divine, and I made sure I came prepared and ready like many of you, our family. If you think you're going to intercede in our upward mobility, you're confused. You can maybe slow us down, but not any longer, because we're in divine home court advantage. So let me sign in. Give me a minute. Let me sign all this in. I want to get us some music so we can kick this party off, because you know I like to do our musical, you know, toning to add us into this mix. Let's see, hold on. And yes, family, I am sweating because I was out in the sun. And I sweat all the time. I am quite natural in that way. Wait. Be patient with me, my family, as you always are, while I get us some music selections. I hope you are all rocking your divine, beautiful purple and white this day. Are you being patient with me? Thank you. You know, my tech is quite slow, but it is coming about. Here we go. Get some music popping in this piece, and then we can start discussing some wonderful new revelations. We will discuss certain things with our divine males, our sun stars, and also we'll get an information on the eclipse coming up. So give me a minute, I'll get some music and then we'll start. And you know I always have to start with this song, family, because you know this is, you know I have a affinity for a certain thing. So hold on one moment. Hold on. Okay. Here we go. Finally. Let's start off with B.O.B. Violet vibrato. It's perfect for our day.
I'm in this apartment, but I don't want no one to know. Dressed up for stages and faces tell me, I gotta know. If I were to be honest and bold, would I be a hero? 'Cause if you could see the colors that glow inside my soul, oh, if I were to bleed, my blood would flow, a violet, a bright out. Wow. La 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 Communication is so amazing when shown. Ooh. As we awaken and all the pages unfold from such a beautiful life, from such a beautiful life.
I had to pick that song. I have a thing for B.O.B. So big up to B.O.B. My I have an affinity for B.O.B. But I love the song Violet Bravado. It's very high vibrational. It invokes thought pattern. I know I've got all kinds of incense around me. Smoke everywhere. I told you it's going to cloak us in smoke. For those who are in different time zones, you know your times to invoke reestablish your shields. Make sure you do so. Make sure you rock your divine colors. I see many of our sun stars. Big up to Mr. K, who's on my Instagram and also on my Twitter account. I don't really mess with them as much, but I have a wonderful sun star who's actually from Philly. So big up Philly is in the house, who has assisted me with giving a wonderful divine established character to our gentlemen, to our divine males. And we, so if you hear me say sun stars, I'm generally just referring to our males. Sea stars I call our sea sisters, which you've heard me say for quite some time. Or I'll call them goddesses, depending on the character or their vibratory pattern that that I observe with them. So I will say, please rock your colors today. This is the 13th. This is a powerful day. The Dark Bell has utilized this day for many, many eons now, utilizing that number to manipulate and to make you further indoctrinated while they're doing rituals and all kinds of things with that powerful number. Remember the 13th floor, 13th day, black cats, they always demonize things that are connected to things that they use in the divine field to utilize its power. And we've taken that back as sovereign beings, as earthlings on this planet, and we will no longer let that be permissible to the others. That is our claim to fame. 13th is ours. It is a divine number, and we as the divine sea stars and sun stars will now utilize that and its power and take that back. So booyah. Can't stop, won't stop. Let me stop. And anyway, I have not made this video because it's been very difficult for me to upload videos on YouTube, but you know, I am a little lazy too, so uploading videos on YouTube has become archaic because I do a lot of lives on FB on my Secret Squirrel group. But I will say this, we had made a decision, many of the sun stars or divine males had come to us asking what it is that they could do to support the divine feminine consciousness waves coming in, and also to support planet Gaia, planet Tiamat. And I simply stated that it was time for you to clean up the planet. And it's interesting as I go into having conversations right now as far as the solar eclipse that's coming in. I wanted to discuss that as well because the 21st is everything. Everything is occurring on the 21st, and us as a collective family, you know, our family is very small, but it's very grand. We made a decision and a request from our sun stars, from our divine males. The question was, what can you do? And we just simply said, clean up the planet. Clean up. If you are living in an area that is quite debaucherous and unclean and unsavory, the only thing that we can do as earthlings is clean up. Clean up all the debris that we've created on this planet. Start cleaning up your neighborhoods. I would love to see fathers, sons, uncles, grandfathers make it a day. We've decided that the 21st was a very powerful day, as it was a 3, and we were asking you if you would decide if there was something you can do that you can collectively, as our divine males, begin to clean up the planet. Make a day of it. Make a divine day as we do as a divine sea stars on the 13th. We ask that you on the 21st, collectively as divine males, collectively come together, organize, and start cleaning up the planet. Do days when you're fielding, when you're going and picking up garbage. Actually, your sanitation departments would be very, very supportive if you ask them for any of the, I'm dropping stuff. Sorry about that. If you ask the sanitation department for any of the tools and the, you know, any of the things needed, like garbage bags, any of the trash cans maybe set up that day, any open bins to support it. And I say, fathers and males, make it a wonderful festival. Why not set up days? Because, you know, you can't change you can't change anything in the outer world if you haven't changed aspects of yourself. And if your consciousness is okay with stepping over garbage in a neighborhood that you live in, that you walk in daily, that's an issue. Why not change your general environment? People treat you how you treat yourself. And if you're okay, listen, I'm talking to everyone, but if you're okay living in areas where you see debris and garbage on the floor, it says something about your consciousness. And I'm saying to the divine male, why not show some incentive by helping and assisting and cleaning up Mother Tiamat, by just simply cleaning up the garbage and making a day of it and showing our young, divine, beautiful crystals, indigos, rainbow children, a way that showing some pride and some self-respect and showing them how to walk in the world with ease, but also take a personal responsibility of what's going on. So I ask that those wonderful, we have beautiful divine males. I will say this, many of you know this, they're part of our family. I speak to them daily, even if I don't, they exist. They're wonderful. They've been really, really supportive. They've been holding their own. Many of them are the mentors in our neighborhoods. Many of them are the ones who donate their time to senior centers. Many of them, they are the ones who also are feeding animals or making sure they're good stewards to the planet. Why not start that, Sun Stars, and also maybe start agricultural centers, teaching our young males how to cultivate the planet, how to plant things. Why not have a cleanup day and make it fun? You know how you know how I get down. I love music. Bring a day where I always love it. You know, many of you from the South or other places, make it like a barbecue day. Make it a day you bring food out. Everybody does like what we call like bring something to the table, have some good stuff, healthy stuff. Bring some stuff out, gentlemen. And I'm talking about the men. I'm talking the women, we can support it all day. I support our divine males, but I want the fathers to come out here, and I want them to be, some little boys don't necessarily have active fathers, and that doesn't take away your onus to be a good role model to other males, because those males will grow up with your children. Eventually they will touch thought pattern and environment. So for that being said, I'm asking for potluck. Thank you, Jennifer. A potluck. Bring goodies, bring good music, higher vibrational music. Let the little boys come out and play, maybe dads, set it up. And again, go to your local departments, your sanitation departments. They will be very supportive and they will give you everything necessary. So I ask for your Sunstars, simply that. Clean up the 21st every month. Make it a day, make it an activity, make it something special. And this way we can start making this situation, oh, sorry, hold on. I have to, okay. Thank you. This way we can start making a change based on our own pattern and behavior. We shouldn't be okay with garbage walking around. And if you're discussing other forms of consciousness, you know, I always talk to our gentlemen, because, you know, many of you know I'm from New York, and I was a Harlem, you know, I was uptown, and I used to live in Manhattan for many years, so I used to hang out at the Harlem centers and so on, which were fabulous, especially for children. But I noticed a lot of the pseudo-conscious community talks a lot, and I noticed that many of these men will talk outside and there's garbage right on the road, and they're okay stepping over the garbage to talk actively and have a conversation with others about higher consciousness or Kemetic laws or you know, how evil the others are, but they don't do something basic, which is cleaning up their own neighborhoods. Why aren't they talking from their backyards? Why aren't they talking from their gardens? Why aren't they talking with little Sunstars, little men, sitting down, listening, absorbing, and watching them, and being good role models? So I'm just saying this all to say, let's, we decided the 21st. I'm asking for all our Sunstars to start organizing. There's, again, we are so small, but we are great in, as far as frequency. Start setting that up, and I'd be really appreciative, and all of us would be appreciative that that is a way that you can donate and help and assist with the divine feminine and just the divine field coming in, because this is all about unity consciousness. So let me start. Okay, so let's get into, you know, we want to get into the solar eclipse. Okay, so I had this discussion yesterday amongst the Secret Squirrel group. Okay, let me kind of pat myself dry. I love sitting in the sun because you get all that information, and the sun was actually permissible today in Florida, so I enjoyed really getting a lot of the activations today to be able to come. I mean, I just dashed before 1 o'clock, so grateful that you all decided to join me. So listen to this. On the 21st, which is interesting, this is our solar eclipse coming in. Okay, hold on. We must not give energy to anything that is not above and you know, displaying itself in a very high frequency. I'm negating those. I finally learned how to, you know, kind of X-may those who are saying, you know, this is the thing when you do live on YouTube, you get a bigger demographics of people, but at the same point, you got to be mindful that all will come to this platform, whether they're part of our family or not. So I will only give information that is permissible in this big way, as this is this is a bigger platform, and I'm not denoted to give information to to everyone. Okay, it's not necessary. Freaks come out. It doesn't matter. It just, you know, when someone says something, and first of all, there's power in everything. There's power in every word. Every word has a negation. Every word has a positive aspect of it. So even if someone says things like, you know, someone says something like nega, it's not a negative word. It's been created to be negative, like the number 13. Actually, the word nega has such a powerful thing, but it's mispronounced, and it's utilized in a word that's very negative. So it really has both. Everything has dual meanings. So negas is a very wonderful and powerful word. I accept it. I know what that is, the entities that usually use it as a negation don't realize that they're empowering the people that they're saying it to if you understand what that truly means. So all day you can state that. Just make sure you spell it properly, because if you're limited cognitively and spelling is not your forte, spelling it incorrectly and saying it incorrectly just denotes your consciousness. That's all. Anyway, let's move on. 21st is a powerful day. All that being said, is that we're having a very powerful solar eclipse. This will be transformative, as it is also, the 21st is on the new moon. And many of our occult family, many of our Wiccan family also can denote that during a new moon is when you usually do rituals that will invoke something new, something that you desire. These are times when you do occult rituals based on the things that you desire for yourself, whether it's something as base as wanting something more fiat or wanting more divine information. It depends on how high or low of a base desire you want. But the funny thing about this is that it's all occurring on the 21st. And we had already decided that our males, that we were asking for our divine males to do cleanup on that day. So why don't we make this like, this actually will be a magnificent, a magnificent draw-in of all the positivity, because again, as I've denoted, old Earth and on new Earth have already separated. So you've already made your choice decision as far as where you're going to be during this permeation of the new frequencies. Whether you're on the old Earth, that is what your soul needs to grow spiritually and still have some of that, tumultuous or adversity to help you grow. And that's okay. But those who are stepping have already chosen to partake on a new Earth, will be experiencing higher frequencies, higher dimensional, consciousness, and will be able to field in more a higher, cohesive, less dualistic existence. So that being said, many of your DNA will be activated. This time, the solar eclipse will invoke your latent genealogy to be activated. That being said, once your DNA is activated, a lot of these, latent biological, we have a lot of latent memories, a lot of codons are still locked down in your genetics that are not meant to be awakened or unlocked until the environment is permissible to that type of ability or that type of consciousness, or something it comes in to key in a vibration and unlock it. And that's what the solar flare will do. And as I was joking with my family yesterday on FB Live, I was just saying, if you wake up on the 21st levitating to the ceiling, please don't call anyone and tell them, because this may unlock X-Men type of abilities, meaning that your abilities may be provoked based on the fact that we're going into a very, we are still going into a time when the pole shift will occur. And a lot of these abilities, whether it's your telekinesis is kicking up, whether it's your, I was talking about teleportation, which I would love to have that kind of ability. Your abilities of invisibility, your abilities of being, having fire, what is that, that kinetic pyro. Someone always tells me how to say it, the pyro, having a pyro, someone always gives me that. Whoever knows the statement of actually what it is, it's pyrokinetic energy. Some people have that ability. I've actually been in the inside of the field of someone who had that ability. And usually the room heats up right before they're about to do something. And you've seen a lot of the chi masters or people big into Tai Chi and different, especially the old Kemetic arts, or also the old ninja training schools, talk pyrokinesis. Thank you, Banner. Oh, Banny. Thank you, Banny. Pyrokinesis. Thank you, Dexter. Jose, everybody's got it. Yeah, pyrokinesis. Those people who have, who studied in the old arts, that are trained, by ninja masters, chi masters, what have you, and old Kemetic, the Moors, some of the Moors, facets of the Moors actually go into those fields of working with the different energies. Qi Chang goes into that as well, but those are people who are able to actually naturally, they don't have to be trained, or they don't have to practice. This ability may be something that is triggered. Well, the codon is opened and released, and that ability becomes something that you have access to. And again, it will only happen if the vibration of the earth, where you're existing in your universe at the time, as far as time frame, and your consciousness is matching it with the ability to be able to harness and handle this type of ability. That being said, many of you will have all types of abilities released. Many of you already having it, but I denote that the solar eclipse will bring higher fields of frequency that will unlock many of the people here. And I like to call you the 144. Some people disagree. That's just what I name it. It could be anything. It will activate those who are in higher fields of frequency, and it will activate you to release these super abilities that will allow for you to live definitely more cohesive, get information. And I was talking about a group. Now, if someone knows this, because I know I'm on YouTube, and I know my YouTube family also is very well versed. I remember reading I remember reading a story, and it was an actual description of a people in Georgia. Now, I'm not sure if it was Dr. York's book. I've read so many books, and sometimes, I'm a woman of a certain age. To this point, I've read tons of chronicles based on true ET experiences, fields of metaphysics, all forms of, naturopath. I've read so many different types of books. I can't tell you where it came from. I think I liken it to something that maybe Dr. York wrote. So this was a story about a group of people in Georgia, melanin dominant carbon beings who were existing in Georgia. I believe it was in the 1920s. If someone can find this or tell me where it came from, I know someone knows, because it was a book I read, and it was based on a true story. And it wasn't just one person. There were numerous eyewitnesses at the time that were hushed by the government. But this was a group of people that after an eclipse, I'm not sure if it was, I don't want to say believe, I think it was a solar eclipse. If not, it was definitely a lunar eclipse. All of a sudden, inside of people that did not know anything of this is 1920s, they weren't well versed. They didn't have character type of, verbiage that we use today or information. They actually were activated, meaning that some information was released in their codons, meaning that it upgraded their intellect enough to be able to collectively find one another of a particular, I think are hybrid groups. I personally think they were Martians, people that seeded Martians here that were sleeper cells. If you don't know what a sleeper cell, look it up. Sleeper cells, and they awakened at a particular time when there was an energetic provoking of their genomes to open up and to release information within their synapses so that they could cognitively build a ship. These people in Georgia got together. They didn't know each other originally, brown people. They got together, and in secret every night they started to build a ship from all kinds of pieces of metal, scrap metal. They found all these different pieces, put them together collectively. They didn't know each other prior, built themselves a ship, and left this planet. I forgot who did this. I'm not sure of what group, and I will find the resources eventually, because I do keep all my books and I archive everything, which thank goodness I do, because I wouldn't recognize anything if I didn't do that. And also, oh, my dog. And also I keep notes. So I have to look in the archives, because usually when I have any information like this, something that is such a major event documented, I make sure that I keep notes on it. So I probably have to look in my old archives, because this is years ago that I read this. But I know some of you may know, because this is a bigger family, that is probably aware of this particular story of these melanin dominant beings who were provoked energetically, released some codons that enhanced their capability probably just released a cap, like, when you have a cap, like a hold on something, released a cap that was holding them from having this information, divulged to them too early. And once it was, they collectively came together, built a ship, and left this piece. So if anyone finds that story out, or where it came from, or who they were, I would love to, if you could forward that information to me so I can give people more of an idea of that's what can happen. It's a fact. The sun does feed information to your cells, and based on the environmental field, you will have certain information divulged to you. If your consciousness is of a certain receptivity, has a certain receptivity to the information. It's people always say, why divulge too much information to those who are not ready for it? I tend to differ just a little bit. I mean, it's not about people not being able to retain it, because everyone can retain information, especially if they're of higher frequency. And the fact of the matter is that not all beings of super intelligence or super intellectual capabilities are all light workers. That's a fact. That's why you have the dark bowel, who can do so much. They're not necessarily light workers, but they can utilize the information based on the fact that they have a cognitive ability to be able to discern information and be able to utilize it. Not everybody has that. So I don't want to get into the semantics of who and what should get the information. Whoever has the information, who has the intellectual aptitude to receive it, conceive it, and utilize it, they're usually of a higher intelligence. And we talked about bloodlines and things of that nature. And so, but I'm sidebarring. Yes, so the 21st will bring in the eclipse, will bring in information, and it will change your systematic consciousness, all on the planet, including the animals, the insects. Everything from that date on will be changed, to my knowledge. Meaning that when this wonderful, masterful, energetic event occurs, it will have an energetic spiral that hits everyone differently based on their genetics, based on their consciousness, based on their biological makeup, which is the genetics, based on their environment, based on where they're living on the planet. It will hit everyone differently. So because of that, how it shows up will be highly individualistic, but it will be powerful. And what you can do during this time is absolutely nothing. There is no necessity to do anything at this particular time when this energetic event happens. It's happened before. It has done exactly what it's about to do now, but you must know that our world will be transformative based on this event. It's a beautiful time. The fact of the matter is, if you're on this planet at this particular time, it means that you're the best of the bad. Many entities would have given anything to be incarnated at this time in human body, to experience what we're about to experience at this point on planet Tiamat. Many ET ships are actually cloaked above us, who are actually watching as spectators, watching and seeing and observing and documenting how it will affect the human beings and the non-human beings and different species on this planet. It is a time to be masterful about what you do and what you don't do. Everything is about free will. Nothing can go against your free will. That is universal law, but many people are limited cognitively, purposefully created, genetically modified, to make them less susceptible to higher fields of information and make them more receptive to high type of behavior, so that they cannot pick up. It's a cap. Remember I talked about the cap with those people from Georgia? They had a cap. It was released when that energetic permeation came through via a solar eclipse or a lunar eclipse, and all of a sudden they were able to receive the information. It upgraded them, and they were able to build a ship. It's kind of like that when these things happen, but there are certain beings that were created here. We have master eugenics. Big up to the eugenics who've done a dastardly deed, creating beings on this planet who make it very difficult for many of us who are awakening, or those who are planning to beeline off this madness in the matrix and go on to higher fields of consciousness. Because of that, they've created what I've termed empty seeders, genetically modified beings who are coexisting with you, whose pure motivation is absolutely just existing, being without any connection to source or higher self, and usually creating havoc or dismay to those that they encounter based on the fact that they have no higher connection, and they just live in fight, flight, and fornication. Okay, so the FB New Age Rebel, just go to my FB page. I don't want to really say it here. My FB page, Fleur Brune. And then I have a secret squirrel. I call it the secret squirrel group. It's not a secret group. It's called Fleur Brune Cypher. It's a secret group that I have, and I do lives on FB. And that's where most of my, I divulge information. And, our family is quite spry. They have a host of information themselves, which I learned from. I tell you, I'm not a teacher. I'm just an avid student, and I enjoy the exchange. I learn from all of you. Just, living on this planet a long time does not mean you're bright or the smartest or I'm the most knowledgeable. But what I will say is having a great amount of experiences, being open and receptive to other people's information, and being able to source it together and make it permissible in my daily life, that brings wisdom. But I know many of you are young sea stars and sun stars who are so divine and already born. You're all ancients that came back in incarnation. And because of that, you already had this information in you. I'm like an upgraded old system. I'm like a system, when you upgrade your PC, I'm like I was born like almost like analog digital, but I had to be upgraded to digital. So I'm an upgraded system, but many of you were born digital and masterful in the information. So I never want to trump you based on age, because many of you are way more knowledgeable than myself, based on the fact that you are divine and ancient ancestors coming back in incarnation. So I give you that props. So Fleur Brune won't ever trump her age over some young, masterful, smart, wisdom-based sun star and sea star. Many of you are fantastic as far as information is concerned, and you came with the right systems. So all that being said, I lost my train of thought. Okay, so the 21st. Some of you will be going to mountains and retreats. By all means, do what you feel. What is Fleur Brune? I will be just sitting, collecting, probably lying free and clear with the sun and receiving the information just as I could. I tell people, if you want to fast, by all means do so. Be mindful of fasting, because sometimes that energetic information comes in, and if you're not grounded, because fasting makes you really, really heightened and sensitive. And this is a high amount of energy coming in that will alter and change your genomes. And because of that, I want you to be mindful that if you're fasting, it could cause you to be out of body for a while. So it could be beautiful if you can handle it, but for some it will build anxiety and stress. So just be balanced in the way. Be a little grounded. I would say, raw may be better. Juicing, you get that heightened field of receptivity to energies, like the trees. Be mindful of that. Keep yourself grounded to the earth. I talked about, on the FB group, we talked about sea stars, mindful of I hope these adults on here, and don't, this is conversation for adults. So just be mindful with children. I'm very cautious to say things that children could hear in a way that I didn't think is permissible for them. But just sea stars with panties. We play on my FB. Annie Has No Panties by Badu. Big up to Badu. I love that song. Annie Has No Panties. Panties right now, or underwear, disallows you from being hyper connected to the earth. I always say, if you can safely go outside, sea stars, listen to what I said, sea stars, if you can safely go outside and sit on the ground, somewhere clean and clear, nowhere where there's necessarily debris. You can also clear the ground a little bit so no parasites or anything can go inside of you, but sit with your fufun, we say fufun, or your yoni to the ground, and allow the energetic field to actually, au plaisir de vous revoir. Hey Mojo! Allow for the energy to be able to touch your yoni space, also to go into the womb, because you get information via the inner earth because there is a sign on the inner earth as well. If you sit and allow themselves without shoes, without panties, and sit down on the ground and allow receptivity and information to come in via your yoni, it is very masterful. So, I hope you're mature enough to get this information without letting it go left. Panties is not natural. Brasiers are not natural. Those are part of a system that came along with colonization. And it's not colonizations of Europeans, it's colonizations of other species of ETs that have come here, that have messed with your formulated thought and patterns as an indigenous. So don't take it as a complexion thing. I'm talking purely about other species that have manipulated your natural cues to be able to interact with Mother Earth without any hindrance. Wearing brasiers with metal, wearing underwear that has synthetic material is highly unnatural to the indigenous woman. So that's not something I'm saying as a counter to clothing. All I'm saying is that I am pro nature, meaning that I think you should live and be in nature as you are, and you were born in the skin that was meant for you to come in to deal with the elements, okay? That's why some of us have longer hair, some of us have shorter hair, some of us have lighter skin, some of us have darker skin, some of us have wider noses, thicker lips, based on the fact that we come from jungle areas, like my features. Some of us don't. We have thinner features. Maybe we're from higher altitudes where thinner noses are necessary because the air is very thin. So, just be, we have to be a little adult in having these conversations. Anyone has no panties. I made a joke of it, but there is some joke. Oh, are there people being inappropriate in here? Let me see. Listen, if you can be appropriate, I'm one person to accept all beings of all different consciousness as long as you're respectful. You may stay on this platform if you're respectful. If you are not respectful, then I will not ask you to leave. I will just disallow you to engage with us on this platform. So I just suggest you can see, it's interesting. And again, these beings are, I love that we do get to see this, because what happens is that when you engage and you see beings in their display of debaucherous behavior, reprehensible language, it shows a lot about their consciousness or lack of consciousness. So we don't have to negate them, but to observe them and see what an empty cedar actually looks like. Look at it, observe a being from a position of lack of connection to source. Observe a being that is genetically modified. That's all it is. So I just, like I said, be mindful. You can stay on here and engage with us, or you can just watch. But I don't have a problem with different opinions, unlike others who may have an issue. You don't have to agree with everything I say, and I'm okay with that. And sometimes I learn that not everything I know or believe is the right way. So I'm always open and receptive to other information that might be more applicable to what is necessary for me to raise my consciousness. That's all. So anyway, and I could say this, because I want another platform, I will say this, because I'm going to say it publicly, because I have an issue with these beings who are now, there are beings that are part of the pseudo-conscious community that are proponing themselves as higher beings or natural beings. They call themselves, nature this, nature that. And I will tell you, things in nature don't have an issue or negation to others. They will display themselves in ways that are not yay or nay. I was called to another platform, and I'm going to say it on here on YouTube because I want many of you to understand that not everything that looks as it is. I was called to a platform of a young lady who was speaking on the debaucherousness of crystals. She was negating crystals, saying crystals are awful, it's terrible because they're dug up from the ground, it's wrong to take them from Mother Earth, which I don't disagree with. But her statement, as she's saying it on this platform, many of you know who I'm talking about already. On this platform, she stated this, and while she's stating it, she's rocking a bronze or copper beautiful bracelet, and wearing, I think, some metal earrings, if I'm not mistaken, and wearing clothing, which many of us do. And my question to this young sea star, very young lady, not very well versed, cognitively maybe challenged, but I asked her, if you have a negation of crystals, which I'm not against, why would you be stating that while rocking a metal bracelet? or something of that case, or anything that's been mined. Because gold is mined, copper is mined, things come from beneath the ground. And I don't have a problem with people saying don't take things from the earth and not to take it and maybe to give it back. But what she did do is state that, and she was surrounded by a group of very non-divine males who responded to my question, just an inquiry to this young sea star. Remember, our sea stars, one thing I say, I just observe, and as a mother, and as someone who's perceived as an elder to some, as to her, I would never take it upon myself to attack. I only question something based on what someone is putting out there, just to see their form of consciousness, just to see why they thought one thing was not okay and the other. But what this being did state is her male that was surrounding her in this community called me, excuse my language, a bitch. And somebody on a walkie-talkie stated, get that bit off and block her. Now, this is what I'm talking about, people who are calling themselves nature-based beings, who are okay to talk disparagingly about a divine feminine and to be disregarding of the feminine aspect in their own camp or tribe, disregarding her own opinion or her own free will to make her own decisions, and bypass that by being disgusting and using disparaging behavior and hold on. Okay. Using negative behavior and saying something negative like that, but they will call themselves part of nature. This is also a being who thinks it's okay to poop on their fruit trees because they feel like they're giving back to the trees by putting fecal material on top of a tree, which you already know leaches all kinds of bacterium and things like that. I won't say anything more, but I just found it interesting that once the male called me a bitch, there was tons of females on that stream who did not come to the aid. The young lady who heard the word did not flinch when the male said that for no apparent reason. And this is what I'm saying. You have to be mindful that not everything that looks golden is gold. That's all I'll say about that. I just wanted to bring that up. It was a platform. They blocked me for asking a question based on their own hypocrisy. And I noticed that this is also a denotion of a female that is representing the patriarch, stoic, very debaucherous patriarch that is trying to rear its head and utilizing young females who are under mind control and who have issues with their own cognitive receptivity that are being utilized and taken advantage of by older males who are, inseminating them with negative low thoughts and allowing them, and actually promoting them to be anti-female. And they're, her language was very debaucherous. She was using very low terms, so I understand that. But at the time, there was no reason for me to be aggressive with her. But I just want to bring that up for many of you who know this being. And I think we should check each other when things like that happen. If you come and disregard my sisters, just know you will have a repercussion. I disallow anyone to be disrespected, male or female. Okay, so because of that, if you talk disparagingly about another one of my females, I will take issue with you. If you talk disparagingly about one of our males, I will have an issue with you. I'm an equal opportunist as far as that's concerned. Hold on. Okay. See, okay, I'm just taking off the GMOs as we go. I just want to make sure that I omit them from our conversations. So yes. So anyway, I'll go back to our information, a conversation about the solar eclipse. So also we have a new moon. So for all those into ritual mode, some of you that are occultists, I already know that you will be utilizing this energy. And also our males, our divine males, hopefully will be engaged in the cleanup of the planet on this day and make it a wonderful, masterful day of celebration with our young sun stars, our young males. Many of the young males need great role models. And like I said, you don't have to be a biological relative to be a great influence to others. Sometimes being a lantern is an influence in itself. Always be the light source, and others will be illuminated around you for that reason. So how's everyone doing? I see everybody's checked in. I'm glad I got up and what's up with the cycle right now, Flurbrun? The cycle? What cycle? Fancy, wait, is this my friend Fancy One, or is it, okay, what's up with my cycle right now, Corporal? What cycle, is that your menses? The menses, oh, I did do a, excuse me, I did do a count of menses changing. I was talking to the Divine Feminine, many of you, and this is why I'm really so upset that I don't upload videos more often, but our menses, what I found is that there was a collective change biologically of the females on the planet. And it showed up with many of us with bruises on our bodies that came from nowhere. At the same time, all of our menses came roughly the same day. Menses changing, meaning that all the females, generally you will see females' menses change based on being close proximity of another. It's a mating, it's part of our biological field for mating receptivity. That's all that usually is. But what happened in the last month and the month before, many of the female cycles changed at the same time with a host of physical apparitions that were showing up on the body. We had a discussion about it, and I also made sure I took a sample of which states and cities and countries were affected. And what it looked like is almost every city was affected in the United States, and many of the other countries. I don't have a document of all the females in other countries, so I can't, but I know that Australia was affected, some of the sea stars, Germany was affected, the Congo, some of the women in the Congo were affected, Tanzania was affected, South Africa was affected, also our women from, it was in the Middle East. One of our Middle East countries was one that I know of, that because I can only say if more than one woman is having these things and we're all collectively getting this. So it looks like whatever's been happening with the divine feminine consciousness coming in, these waves of energetic fields coming in, it is altering our biological bodies. It is changing it. It is actually, it's making us all the same, to be honest. And you're seeing a regenerative quality with a lot of the sea stars that are 35 plus, meaning that you're starting to see women of older age starting to regenerate quicker. So it is an upgrading of this divine feminine, not even divine feminine, just all females on the planet. It looks like it's affecting us biologically. And what's also happening is that it is making us more receptive to higher fields of information. So, you know, I'm noticing that as I walk throughout the world, I'm noticing that females of all different complexions are more receptive to bonding with one another. That's what the divine feminine energies does. It makes us more permissible to unite with one another under the divine field. It's doing something biological to our bodies too. So your menses changing. For those who are not on that site, we did note it. It's happening planetarily. What is the end result? I'm not quite sure. I don't know anything else other than, oh, hold on. We have some interesting beings on here. Hold on. Boom. That's very easy. Okay. I don't want you guys subjected to that kind of debaucherous language. What was I saying? Regular sleep. Oh, Maximus, are you're requiring less sleep? That is part of the, and again, the males are being changed too. I just, you know, because I talk amongst many females, I can kind of feel that. But the males, it'd be interesting if you give me Maximus, if you're on our site, or go to my email, I would love to hear how the males are also changing. And also, there was an interesting effect that it wasn't just females that were changing some of their biological things. Some of the transgender females were having some of these apparitions on their bodies just like the females. And I'm wondering if it was just because they're taking hormones, so the planet is assuming that they're females and it's changing their bodies as well. So it's very interesting. If you get a chance, you know, make your own census with your group, sample of your, if people allow you to do that. But the males, I would love to hear how you were changing, because it's going to change you as well. I just don't get a chance to take a sample of the males as much, but I would love to and see what's going on with our males, okay? Let's see. My intuition has skyrocketed, doing things, thoughts, getting more efficient, accurate. Absolutely. Your intuition will be on point. You follow your first mind. Delbert Blair's #1 statement to me was follow your first mind. You know, if I had issues with, I remember, hold on. I remember having issues with certain aspects, like knowing certain things or getting information in my head, and I couldn't discern sometimes, especially when I was first. I was awakening for a long period of time, but I couldn't discern certain things based on the fact that I didn't have enough field information, meaning that I hadn't experienced it or talked to others who experienced it. This is like 10 years ago when I first encountered, I think, what was it, 10 years ago? Roughly 10 or 11 years ago when I first encountered and had my first interaction of Dr. Delbert Blair. He said, follow your first mind. I didn't kind of get it then, but that's your intuition. Following your first mind is very important right now. It will lead you to safety if anything happens. It will also allow you to live in your highest purpose. You know, it's that first mind. You know what I mean? When you get it, it's kind of like something as simple as, I remember plenty of times I'm going out. Now I live in Florida, right? So I will wear it's not a necessity to wear a sweater here, but there'd be plenty of times I was going out, and then all of a sudden my mind would say, grab a sweater. Why would I grab a sweater and it's hot? You know, that was my second mind. My first mind said, grab a sweater. My second mind said, why would you grab a sweater when it's hot outside? Then I would go somewhere not grabbing the sweater, thinking that was madness, I even thought about it, go somewhere, and it was inside where someone's had the air condition and I could not alter the air condition. So you see how your first mind would tell you to do something and then all of a sudden you second guess it. So first mind is always the right mind. Your intuition is definitely going to skyrocket at this point. I want you to follow that. Let's see. I'm sleeping with my necklace on now to have it on the dresser in my bed. Okay, so I've been doing that too. I love it. Look at the sea stars. Look at them interact with one another. This is beautiful. And, you know, we did discuss issues with complexion. We talked about, and even, you know, everyone has to progress. We all come from a sick system. The old patriarch made us very sick. It was a very stoic regime. It lasted for a couple thousand years. And we all have a sick way, and we've been conditioned. We've also been you know, we've been under the MK Ultra to a certain degree. And because of that, we all have a certain amount of sickness that comes from that old paradigm. And to say that someone doesn't is, you know, it would be hard to say that I've been swimming in a cesspool and I could come up clean and clean out of that kind of debaucherous type of homeostasis in the dirty water, right? So we all have that. And part of that is a separatist type of, behavior. You know, no form of supremacy is real. There's no such thing. Now listen to what I said, because you're going to have to listen to it in flip mode. There's no such thing as quote unquote white supremacy. All there is white in superiority. There's no such thing as black supremacy. There's only white inferiority. That's all that exists. Because one who's already living above does not have to tell the others that they're below. It would just be known. The fact that you have to perpetuate that state of being lets me know that you're not from that state of being. What's going on? Is everyone able to see me? I'm noticing it's saying a bad connection. Can everyone tell me? Can you see me? Everyone sees? Is everyone okay? This is a live stream. I don't know why it's saying, okay, let's see. Can everyone see the live stream? It's still buffering a lot? Okay, that's interesting. It's saying a bad connection. I'm looking and it looks decent so far. Okay, everyone sees me? Okay, just making sure, because I'm not used to being on YouTube and I can see. Okay, perfect, thank you for the confirmation. What I was going to say about the complexions is we're going to have to get over the sickness. There are so many different species here. Yes, then you would have issue with different species. And many of the issues going on, unbeknown to yourself, have nothing to do with the complexion of people, but the species that they come from that they don't even realize that they're mixed with. You know, many of the Draconians took issue with some of the Anunnaki bloodline. Okay? And unfortunately, because the complexions denote some of these connections to some of these other species, then you start calling it race. There's no such thing. There's only one earthling, one human being on this planet. But there are many different hybrids and species on this planet. Because of that, then you have issues. People are worried about complexions. Like I denoted before, if you take issues with anyone, it will never be based realistically on complexions. I've met plenty of people who look like me and who don't look like me, who match my frequency. I met many people who look like me, who don't look like me, who don't match my frequency. It is an equal opportunist existence. But what you focus on is your ailment. So if you focus on the negativity of someone's behavior toward you, you have to think of some issues you are dealing with yourself. If the world outside of you is showing you some negation to you on a physical level, there is something about you that needs to be healed on the inside, and your world will then reflect the more healed, more confidence, more self-assured you are on the inside. That is a fact. That's why some people who are troubled in their mind and thought and pattern will live in a place where the environment is really negative, low vibrational, a lot of drug abuse and alcoholism. And as soon as they cleanse them, start cleaning, fasting, start meditating, start hanging with different people outside of that neighborhood, they are no longer able to live there, and they end up getting an opportunity to move somewhere where the frequency matches the new and improved version of themselves. So it denotes someone's status. If they're living in chaos, it is a denotion of their inner world that has not been resolved properly. That is a fact. Okay? And it doesn't have to do with complexion, it has to do with frequency. Because there are plenty of places on the planet where you can live, where it's clean, where people are good to each other and they look different. There are plenty of places that are clean and good where people look alike. It just depends on your frequency. So please, just like myself, I had to learn to supersede the aspects of quote-unquote race. There's no such thing as a complexion race. There are different species here that look differently, who have some of the different complexions, that is playing out on a, on a warpath or adversity. Okay? It really has nothing to do with complexion, though. Many people here who have different complexions are from the human race, just different versions of those beings. And again, usually if you talk about aspects of the heirlooms, we talk about the O positives and the O negatives. Those, I like to call them the OGs. They are the heirlooms of all the different variations of the different bloodlines. So if you're an OG, like an O positive, okay, hold on. Okay. If you have an O positive, the variations and the subsidiaries of the O positive, the OG, is the A's, the AB's, all positive roots. The O negative roots is their subsidiaries are the AB's and A's that are subsidiaries of the OG's, the O, and they're all negative roots. But those are part of their bloodline. But the original, and if many of you are farmers or grow things, you know about heirloom seeds. O's are likened to the heirlooms, okay? So O's are all the heirloom seeds. O negative, which Max Spears, big up to Max Spears, rest in peace. I love that he used to make the statement that the O negative was off bloodline, okay? And, blueprint, thank you, C-Star. The blueprint, the O's are the blueprint. The O negative are the off-world bloodline, but I will expound that a little bit more. It's not just that the O negatives or the negatives are the off-world bloodline, they are also variations of clones, genetically modified beings, and also beings that are galactic as well. Okay, so that is a variation amongst the O's. So not all O's are the same. Not all, the negative roosts are the same. Some of them are variations of the negative roots. That some have been cloned from the galactic beings, replicates of the galactic beings. Remember, clones are not like the original. There is an original being that those negative roosts are cloned from, and they display themselves as a copy, okay? Meaning their genomes are not with a lot of dexterity, okay? Now, same with the O positives. The O positives are connected. Big up to Mr. Corey, which I think he's watching. Hey, Mr. Corey. Mr. Corey was one who denoted on our show on Blog Talk that O positives are connected to the Anunnaki bloodline. And the Anunnaki had seeded themselves, a lot of their hybrids are mixed with that O positive. And also, I will add in the interterrestrials tend to have positive roots, which I denote is a connection to Mother Tiamat. Those are those who are originally from here, who have bloodlines and stake and kinship to Mother Tiamat. They tend to be more naturally based, tend to have a higher connection, not to say the O negatives or the negative roosters don't, but the positive roosters tend to feel more vested into nature and the connection to the earth. So we get into that with the subsidiaries and the OGs. So, and I always tell you, if you're going to mate, you mate within the line of your, a subsidiary of an O, let's say O positive, like A, B, or A, will benefit by mating with an O positive. But the O positive will not benefit from mating with a subsidiary, meaning that because the other is a subsidiary of the O, it's not the original, it will feed off of the O's energetic field. Okay, so I always say OGs, stick with your OGs. ABs, stick with your ABs and A's. ABs and A's can kind of field between each other, and B's and A's. I think AB is the only one who can get blood from everyone. So AB is very special in that way. And O negative can give blood to everybody. Okay? So, but O negative can't have a child from positive roots, but a positive roots can have a comfortable pregnancy with the O negative in their womb. So you see how there's all benefits, and there's different things that have to do with the different bloodlines and the different genetic qualities of each of the different roots. So we got into that the other time. O negative crystal child here. Hey, Salu, you're O negative? See? And many people didn't even realize that there was, I remember being invested in a conversation years ago. I'm sorry, I have light behind me. I had a conversation years ago. There's like a beautiful light source there, with a group of O negatives. And there wasn't one carbon being amongst the discussion, which was fine, but they didn't realize that there was a host of O negatives that were carbon beings, meaning melanin dominant. I don't like to use quote unquote black, because black is a negative term that was purposefully created to, it's 13 and lack. So, I try to stay clear of that term, because it is another form of them creating words as a spell to make people claim that status quo. So if you use things like black, 13 lack. If you use words like bless, 13 less. Just be mindful of the phonetics that you utilize. A lot of them are spells, and a lot of them are meant to keep you in a very closed sub way of being. Okay? So, what was I gonna say? I'm trying to get you up to par with all the things we discussed on my Secret Squirrel group. As far as I know, her pregnancy with me went smoothly. Boricua, goddess, okay. So somebody's had birth. Again, I always say mate with those who are more cohesive to your bloodline. Stay within your bloodline. It matters more of mating within, because in order to have children that will be able to be more permissible with the new energies, you have to be mindful of the mating that you're choosing at this time. Before, they just wanted us mating. When my parents were young, they had to have blood tests, and they had to know each other's blood type. I knew my blood type because my parents knew their blood type when they got married. All of a sudden, people are having children, and they don't even know their blood type. Like, they're just having children mindlessly. You should know your mate's blood type. You should know. You should know if you're having sexual liaisons with anyone. The first question you should ask, I remember asking somebody who's a potential mate, big up to my new friend. First question I asked is, what's your blood type? The first thing some people are disconcerted when you ask that question. They're like, what are you, a vampire? Why would me asking your blood type be something that would make you feel that I'm vampiric? It would be self-love that would motivate me to do so. If I decide, because I've made a video on that too, mating with someone, anytime you mate with someone and they're between your legs, sea stars, or males, if your magic wand is going into her masterful vortex between her legs or her stargate, you should always know, whether you use contraceptives or not, that should be somebody that you would be okay manifesting and creating a child with. And that being said, you should know the blood type of those you're engaging with, in case a beautiful divine child comes in conception from that meeting, from that choice meeting of having a sexual liaison. Many people just have sex mindlessly. I mean, listen, if sexual desire is what you would like to engage with, there's nothing wrong with enjoying that. But understand and overstand and understand there is a consequence for doing things without higher connection and higher mind sourcing. Anyone that you engage with sexually should be someone you see as a parent to your offspring. If that is not someone who has characteristics that are divine enough to reproduce yourself, then by all means you should not be having any interaction with them in a way that could possibly bring on an offspring. That is why we're having offspring that are being highly neglected right now. That's a fact. Let them know. Be mindful in your mating. Create divine children. You can only bring in your more divine ancestors from a more divine connection with your mate. And it doesn't mean necessarily marriage in a formal way. It just means that having that connection, knowing who you're engaging with and knowing their bloodline. Do you want to have a bloodline that comes in and you're fielding yourself and you're splintering your bloodline into something that is less than higher frequency? Absolutely not. Do it from a higher point of view, and also know their astrological sign. I too have been subject to making decisions based on not having a self-awareness. And when I started to have somewhat of a self-awareness, my decisions on mating changes based on my understanding of who I am and who is right for me to engage with. And you don't always have to sex all the time. Something you need to learn how to master your own orgasm before you start having sex, because that's another thing. Having orgasms to manifest masterful, beautiful things in the world. You can utilize that also to heal yourself, heal your family members, and things like that. Orgasms have also been changed and ruined and lessened to make people think that that's all it is. Because if you don't know what your orgasm does, there are other beings around you that you cannot see who utilize that energy when you have an orgasm. Maybe this isn't something I should have. maybe I shouldn't have this conversation publicly. Gemini, yeah, I'm a triple Sag. So, with me, fire is where it's at. But again, I've dealt with water signs, and I've had a thing for Cancers for a long period of time, and I've realized that it may not be cohesive for me as a Sagittarius, as a fire sign, especially as a triple fire sign, really being cohesive with, mating with someone who's of, the aquatic group. Even though I can have admiration and have many friends from many different, astrological, positions, but I'm a triple Sag, so I appreciate fire. And now, mating from another position, knowing who and what I am, I will make sure that I take that in consideration and try to have, connections, especially as far as mating, with those who are permissible to my fire. So, okay, so let's see. I'm selling pyrite via, really? Okay, where does I didn't even know that many of these beings could come on this. This is probably why you don't see me go live very often on Blog Talk. Not Blog Talk. Where am I? YouTube. Pisces and Aquarius. Oh, look at this. Beautiful. Look at the Capricorns. Virgo Sun. Know your astrology too. There's a reason why you came in as you are. Before people would, back in the 60s and 50s, they were all about the astrology. Know your signs. Know you came in, and also follow your pattern of your astrological patterns. It really follows suit. Once you start, and I'm not talking about the base kind of astrology, I'm talking about the really in-depth. Big up to Ja Vega, who actually assisted with me with, he is my masterful astrologer. Ever I had a better astrologer and seer, it is Ja Vega. So big up to Ja Vega. He makes sure that my decisions come from a placement of knowing where the moon, the stars, and the sun hit. And I do make a note of those things when engaging in the world, which I understand now are very important in making decisions. So, like I said, if you want to mate with someone who's astrologically sound with you. Also mate from a position of knowing the blood type. If you don't know someone's blood type, you shouldn't be having them between your legs or your stargate. You should know the genetic fielding, and everyone has their thing. As you know, Fleur, I am big into genetics and heredity. It's something I studied in school, so of course I'm well versed in that. And because of that, I do have an understanding of how important it is to bring that into mating, into engaging with other beings. And then when you start getting into the blood type and bringing in metaphysics and the astrology, it would only make sense. That's why the Aztecians, that's why the Mayans, that's why the Zulu, that's why the Nomos, that's why the, what's the other tribe? There's like a Tika tribe, I forgot, the clicking tribe. They're all big into astrology. They know which little children will be partners to one another from birth. They know this based on how they came in, what time frame they came in, and what moon cycle they came in. That's beautiful. Why we lost this under the last paradigm when we were being conditioned under a materialistic, very low vibrational, very mind control, paradigm. But we should know these things, and also your children will come in and you will know also what is more permissible for them. You will know their sign that they've come in, what moon cycle they've come in, what solar cycle they've decided to incarnate in, and also you will know what propensities they have, whether they are more musically inclined, or more are they more do they need more personable attention, or are they going to be those who are more they like to investigate more. You will know who your child is based on their signs and how they came in. And it's very important, if you're going to engage and have children right now and on new cycle, you need to be more responsible with what you bring through your Stargate, sea stars and sun stars. And males, pick a woman whose divine Stargate is that from a gene pool that is permissible to you. We always talk about our sea stars being responsible, but our sun stars had to be responsible too, because she physically looks a certain way, which can be altered with all kinds of butt injections and what do they do? Breast implants and makeup tutorials and hair extension. Women, a lot of males are confused because they don't know genetically who they're getting with, because women don't look like they do normally. So some men are confused. So men, sun stars, be more mindful of all those who you engage with physically, and look past whatever profile or whatever, what is it, like their PR person. Because even I'm messy all the time. Sometimes I wear makeup on here, sometimes I don't, but most of the time you guys always see me sweaty and off kilter. That's how you're going to see me like that all the time. And what you see with me is you get. I'm serious. I'm okay with it now. When I was younger, like everyone else, I had issues with certain things. The external doesn't matter, but her mindset. No males, what kind of mindset she has, what kind of mother was her mother, what kind of rearing did she have, what kind of food did she eat. That all plays into her consciousness. If she's eating cheeseburgers every day, it's not judgment. She can be that. If you eat cheeseburgers every day, then by all means, you can be with a female who eats cheeseburgers every day. That's fine. But just know, if you desire to be with anyone sexually, you should be a little more, mindful of who you're going to engage with and how you engage with her or him. That's all. So, I drink coffee. Not every male will like that. Some men don't like. Some men don't like the taste of coffee in their mouth, or they'll say, "Oh, I can't deal with her," because he has a right to not. Maybe that's not something he wants for his child to be exposed to. Someone who drinks coffee every morning. There's nothing wrong with that. You should have a choice of who you mate and reproduce children with anytime you're doing things with, and it's okay to have certain guidelines or certain criteria for your mate. And like I'm saying, if you're sticking your magic wand in this masterful Stargate, please know that there is a probability that you could replicate yourself. If you're not okay with the replication of her, nor you, then you should be masturbating. I'm sorry. Let me behave myself. Oh gosh. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm going left. When I'm on here too long, I go left. So, it's a beautiful day. It is the 13th. I want you to live divinely. All sea stars, if you have issues with any other sea stars, put your swords down today. Today is our day of unity. We unite together as sisters. That's who we are. We will only engage today with our other female counterparts. If you have issue with anyone, like I say, lay your swords down today. Today is a neutral day that we collectively come together and we bond and we unite under this field of the 13th. We've reclaimed our sovereignty under this. In California, they will be doing theirs soon with their 1 o'clock mark. So all our West Coast sea stars will be engaged in their mantra at 1 p.m. You can also do it again with them. You can do it at all time frames and join the other sea stars on all the other parts of the planet. As you know, our family is huge and they are planetary. We have family in every country and every part of the surface of the planet and inner Earth. So know that, and always feel that you have a support system. And we are very accepting. We have one of the most divine support of our sea stars and sun stars. And I do accept that in itself. And that is why I created the platform and I evolved into this. Remember, if you've heard some of my previous videos, you can see my consciousness change. You can see it. You can see how I grew. You see, maybe sometimes I digressed. Which happens. You know, I am no victim, but nor am I anyone who's, you know, totally perfected in that way. So, like I said, if you ever put me on a pedestal, I will fail you every time. I am quite human in that way. So, family, I'm grateful that you joined me today. I done dropped the musical choice of today. I want you to live divinely. Yeah, but wondering how to add to it, you know. Giovanni, yeah, but wondering. Anyone who wants to be added to the group, please. I know I don't check my Floorbone site every once in a while. Just ask some of the other sea stars and so on. And if you're cohesive for the group, by all means, you can join the Secret Squirrel group on FB. Some of you don't want to join FB, and I totally respect it because obviously that is not for everyone. Hold on 1 second. I dropped something. Okay. So, should I go out with music, family? You know, I like to go out with music. I'm gonna, hold on. You have a masterful day. Let's, you know, I'll do another music choice before we go so we can enjoy ourselves. And, you know, again, sea stars, be mindful, understand who you are, understand that you're in home court advantage. Anything you desire, need, the universe will support you right now. It is a fact. It is something that I spoke about years ago, and it has come to fruition. Any business that you want to do, as far as that is in the divine field, as far as it's supporting the family, nature, children, anything that has to do with the horticulture or naturopathic fields, you will be highly supported. Mother Tiamat supports her divine feminine as she is a female, and she carries that energy. So all that's in support of her, she will support right now. She has way more credence and power at this point as she has risen to her ascended point as well. So because of that, I say anything you desire at this point, start doing that. Many of the loans will come about for those sea stars thinking to start businesses. You know, we get more matrix-like, but businesses that support that field. Anything positive for children, family, nature, you know. Okay, hold on. And you know what I will do for those? You know, I really don't appreciate those negative beings coming on here and putting such debaucherous imagery up. You're going to have some really interesting dreams tonight, and I suggest you don't do that. You know, I can tolerate a certain amount for myself, but I don't appreciate you coming on here and interfering with my family. And because of that, I take offense. So if you come on here, I will let you know that you will have issue and you will have some interesting interactions in your night state. Don't mess with the divine. You may not know that you're here, and you may not know who you're walking and talking amongst, but you will be reminded tonight by coming on here and being very disrespectful. I'm just letting you know. I don't have any beef with anyone, but if you start something, you know I'm gonna finish it. So don't start and there won't be none. If you don't know what I am or who we are, then this is a platform that you probably shouldn't be partaking in. I'm just saying. Let me get some music on here, okay? I'm gonna end with some music. Oh, I want some divine music. Let's see. Oh, here's a beautiful one. This is for my sea stars and sun stars. I want to end on this beautiful note. Oh, do I have my speakers? My speakers connected in there. Oh, maybe not. Hold on, my sun stars. You know I am not the most technologically sound person in the world. You must forgive me for that. I do accept technology as something that we should utilize, and here we go. Oh, Mr. Corey, I see you on here. Bam. Where's my music choice?
hair drama?
Oh,
Cut the
wow.
drama,
You know, it's
not
amazing
the hair.
that
The
you
hair
have all
repair
these type of...
specialist, Gliss, with patent.
Sorry about commercials. I need to get a little more. Here we go. I love this song. This is for my sea stars and sun stars. To end on a positive note. I love you. Big up to those coming to me with through Brazil. Purple and white, y'all.
Kindness is timeless. Love is so easy to give. It just takes a moment to show somebody that you care. To show somebody that you care. In the world that we live in, everybody wants to be so cool. Be in the in crowd. Got the hottest clothes, the hottest shoes. We're reading the tabloids, and we're flossing in the club. But the freshest thing that you can do is give someone your love. Kindness is timeless. Love is so easy to give. It just takes a moment to show somebody that you care. Kindness is timeless. Yeah. Love is so easy to give. It just takes a moment. Yeah. To give someone your love. To give someone your love. To give someone your love. Give someone your love. Give someone your love. The clothes that you're wearing, they will one day be out of style. And the car that you're driving, one day will max out in miles. Your hair and your makeup, and the time that it takes up. Can you take the same care of giving someone your love? Kindness is timeless. Love is so easy to give. It just takes a moment to show someone you care. Kindness is timeless. Love is so easy to give. It just takes a moment, yeah. To give someone your love. Give someone your love. Your love. Give someone your love. Give someone your love. Give someone your love.
Timeless is timeless.
Never goes out of style.
Love never goes out of style.
Love never goes out of style. Love never goes out of style. Give someone your love. 'Cause kindness is timeless.
Woo! Kindness is timeless. I love you, family. Thank you for joining today. Keep your positivity. We will always collectively get together on the 13th. I'm so grateful that you're a part of my family. I'm grateful to have known and met every one of you energetically, spiritually, and etherically. Keep it up. Be kind to all today. Help someone who needs. Make that phone call to someone who needs to hear your voice today. Help that elder who may not have the capacity to help themselves. And kindness is timeless. I love you. Peace.